Hello, my name is John, and today on Mono Story we're going to be talking about my first thoughts on To Be Hero X. So let's get into it and find out what it's all about.
No hiding in the shadows, time to strut. Dump into the night, cause now I'm trouble. All my life they said that I was strange.
The story of To Be Hero X revolves around a group of heroes that are living different lives, showing their backstory as they become the hero that they are today, as well as what it will take for them to become the number one hero and what they are willing to do no matter the cost. These heroes are sponsored by an agency, but also the public gives them their power through a trust system. And so during this story, we see these heroes interacting with one another and the results of those interactions as they are trying to get to the Heroes Tournament with the objective of becoming the number one hero. Now let's talk about the animation and music in this anime, and it is phenomenal. We have, for just the animation, multiple different animations, not just simply the 2D art style that a normal anime would have. It has 2D, 3D, and even for one of the heroes, Ahu, there is a specific animation just for his story. So it is very interesting how they literally change the animation throughout the story, sometimes even in an episode. With characters such as Hero X, his literal ability allows him to change the animation mid-episode, and it is so beautiful to watch because he's in the walls, he then pops out, he's back in a wall again, and then he's popped out somewhere completely different, and he's changing objects from being 2D to 3D, and just using the art style to elevate that makes the story such an amazing and phenomenal thing to watch to the point where you just can't stop watching. The music as well is absolutely beautiful. The backing tracks, the changes in scenery when it does occur, there's music for that. And just the opening is absolutely amazing. Sawano, again, does an amazingly beautiful job. I listened to that song nearly every single day after I watched To Be Hero X. It is an absolutely phenomenal song. It is so beautiful that I even listen to it to this day. I cannot get it out of my head sometimes. It is that good. To Be Hero X has a lot of similarities to a lot of different shows. It shows it's not only an action, but also a drama, as it uses the concept of Marvel and that hero genre, but also takes elements from anime itself, using animes that are similar, such as Steins Gate, in the form that it goes back in the past and looks at the present. Similarly with Re:Zero and the same concept of past to present, however there is a concept of where all of the stories intertwine, and this is similar to an anime known as Durarara, where in this anime there are a lot of different characters having a lot of different stories, but they all interlude with each other at the end of the story, which is very similar to Be Hero X, because it does this so smoothly you don't notice it until you are finally in the moment where everything comes together. And because of this story has so much rewatchability because there are so many little things in it that make the story what it is. It gives little bite-sized pieces of another character that when you watch that character's story helps you understand them a lot more easily. In regards to the story and the world building, there is so much lore in this story, as each of the heroes has a story that connects to one another. So as we learn about one hero, we're learning about another hero, and the concept of agencies and the Hero Commission and how that intertwines with all of these heroes and their stories. Also talking about the top 10 heroes and how their ranking is decided and the abilities that they have based on the trust system is an absolutely phenomenal world building that makes the story so much better. Additionally, with the Easter eggs in the story, there is so many things. You have to keep your eyes open. For example, with Hero X, they use, instead of KFC, XFC, and there are other aspects because the heroes in the world are not just heroes, they are advertising symbols. So they are used to advertise toys and food products as well as posters for their agency to make them money and keep their trust high within the society. And the most important and yet beautifulest thing about To Be Hero X is their timeline. So they have a system of AC, after commission, because of before the Heroes Commission's existence, there was a person named Zero who got so power driven by the trust system that his trust turned into fear, and the people people, instead of trusting him, feared him, and that's how he got his power, which makes the story so beautiful because the timeline occurred after his demise through After Commission and the creation of the Heroes Commission, which makes the story feel even more realistic and not just something you watch on TV. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this story. The characters. Oh my gosh, these are some of the best characters I've ever seen in my life. Like, you thought Marvel had it covered? Nah, Marvel got nothing on To Be Hero X's characters. Marvel's like a drop in the ocean, or like the thing you have for an entree. This is the main course. These characters are amazing. Every character in To Be Hero X somewhat gets a backstory, and they show their struggles and how they overcome all of them and the results of that, which makes every single character have some form of connection to the individual that is watching the story. And what I really love about To Be Hero X is how, even though they're all heroes, the perception of them is not that they are heroes. In reality, only some of them are actually heroes, and some of them are just doing it to be famous or popular. They're not actually being a hero, and they're actually ruining other people's lives through their jealousy and their anger. And it's really interesting to watch, like, how the change of these characters happens. And initially they're really good characters or these really weak characters, but as they gain power, they do the exact opposite of what is a hero's duty. I mean, they'll do such things as fighting other heroes, fabricating stories, stealing, deletions, everything, to get to the top of being the number one hero and To Be Hero X. I mean, some of these heroes are absolutely insane. And we go through the whole cast of good heroes in the story. You have Queen, Nice, Hero X, Lucky Cyan, the Johnnies, Ghostblade, Lolly, and these are just some of the characters in the story. There are some more, but my personal favorite, and the one I want to talk about the most, is E-Soul, the new E-Soul, to be clear on that. This hero story is phenomenally written. It is amazing, immaculate. So the reason he is called New E-Soul is because there's an original Old E-Soul, and Old E-Soul deleted the character known as Zero and created the whole entire system of To Be Hero X. He was the first Hero X. But because he didn't want to be famous or popular and follow the trends of the agency that he was being supported by, he would often not do as they asked or not be very interested in those things. So they needed a new E-Soul. So they got this random guy who was playing E-Soul as an actor, and his name was Yang Cheng. This guy went through some of the worst trauma. He lost his best friend, the girl he loved he never got, and he just became a husk of what he was. And he even deleted the old E-Soul, the one he looked up to, because E-Soul, the old E-Soul, saved his life. And now he has replaced the old E-Soul being the new E-Soul, and he is only a drone. Only someone who listens to orders and commands with the objective of becoming the number one hero. And he will do anything to get there. I mean, anything. He literally deleted Moon out of existence. Boom, gone. He fought Ghostblade with the objective of MG that he needed to delete Ghostblade because Ghostblade knew too much, and he is a phenomenally written character. The fact that this character was once a human being, an individual, and now is just a husk with the objective of doing whatever the agency asks of him is an absolutely phenomenally written character, and that character development shows that even though a character that starts off intentionally good ended up being a villain, even though they call him a hero. Absolute cinema. However, there are some problems with To Be Hero X that are really small, but they do affect the story. And my first issue with To Be Hero X is that it doesn't give equal time to all of the characters. I would have really loved to get more time with Hero X, learning more about his story and why he is the number one hero and why he has held it for so long. How did he get his powers and his backstory? All we got was one episode with him being attacked because he was being the number one hero for so long that the Heroes Commission is afraid of him. However, even though I do like him, E-Soul got a whole entire 4-episode catalogue where we got everything about his story from when he was the new E-Soul as an actor to the point where now he is an actual hero. And so balancing out the episodes would have been a lot better because I had the idea that every single hero would get an equal amount of episodes to their backstory and why they were a hero in the first place. However, because the hero stories were cut up and made into different amounts of episodes, it meant that some heroes, like I said, got more time than others, making understanding that hero struggles a lot more harder. There were also some Easter eggs in the story that were not further explained, or characters that were not further explained. An example of this is Mr. Matchstick and Miss Blazing Fire. They were once the double and first time Hero X winners, and they got caught in a cheating scandal which meant they lost their title, but we don't know anything about them, if they're still alive, how they were the Hero X, who they beat in the tournament, nothing. We only know of 2 excerpts of them being on the news for their actions during other characters' story timeline. And the other character is 9, who we only see at the end of the story and during Hero X backstory, and which we saw Hero X fighting this woman, and she's using these tarot cards, and we see another character who has no name. So I looked it up and her name was 9. However, we know nothing about her and why she's even in the story and why she's fighting with Hero X and this tarot woman. So hopefully in the future they will be more developed and we'll learn more about them, but until then, it is a small blemish on a beautiful story. To Be Hero X is one of those stories that does something so complex, so unique, and nails it 100%, even adding to the genre. Despite it being made by a Chinese company and using the anime format, it really makes it feel natural and unique and so beautiful through its color palettes as well as its story development. I love the heroes in this story. I want to know more about them, and I'm really excited for the future of this world and what will happen after the Heroes Tournament to become Hero X, and it really is going to be an interesting fight between all of the top 10 heroes. I'm also hoping they introduce some new heroes and explain who the main villain of the story is, if there is one. One thing is for certain, Hero X is absolutely going to stomp on everyone. But that is my thoughts on To Be Hero X. I want to hear what you think about To Be Hero X. Is it a good story? Is it a bad story? And why? So please write that down in the comment section below. My name is John from Mono Story. If you haven't already, like, subscribed, and press the bell button, please do so. And until next time, I will see you on another Mono Story.